Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Rob and Blakey's Commentary Box. We're loud and clear on Welsh football. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Rob Phillips, the former BBC Wales football correspondent. My regular associate is Nathan Blake, former Premier League player and Wales international. But you will have noticed, if you're watching on YouTube, that it's two has become three today because we've got a really special guest. Welcome, Mike Flynn. How are you, Mike?
Cheers, Rob. Cheers, Nate. Thanks for having me.
We should have put that in, really, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
And Mike has made his way to the University of South Wales atrium, where we're brought to you with the valued support of the journalism and media courses. Spread the word. Tell your friends. We're on all your social media outlets, Instagram, X, Blue Sky Threads. Watch us on YouTube and, of course, wherever you get your podcasts, including Spotify. This week, what a bumper program. As well as speaking to Mike, we've got Wales's World Cup group, yet another managerial casualty among our four EFL clubs. Swansea's continued hunt for a replacement for Alan Sheehan. So we've got loads. But there is only one place to start. Wales beat Macedonia. We're recording this on Wednesday. This is the day after, the night before, a 7-1 win. A magnificent 7-1 win for Craig Bellamy's side.
I see what you did there. That's pretty good.
Well, you know, it's not
Magnificent
the most original thing.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say,
you know me, I've never been afraid to copy others.
Yeah.
Nathan, I know you were thrilled because you broke all the rules of the press box. You stood up and clapped when Harry Wilson tucked away that free kick.
Like I say, mate, if you go and watch a great performance at the theatre when I went and watched Michael Crawford in Phantom of the Opera, you stand up and clap. It's appreciation. I watched Lion King with my son. You stand up, give a round of applause. I think that's the ultimate mark of respect. You obviously don't.
No, I did when Owen Money's Panda one year.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean...
That's my style.
Yeah, well, he keeps plugging it so he can get his... so he can get on Owen's show when Owen's on holiday. So he thinks, if I keep plugging it, I get back to BBC.
Well, you never know.
Tell him I'm going in December with the kids as well.
Yeah.
Mike, what did you make of last night?
I thought it was exceptional. I'm so pleased for Craig. Not just Craig, you know, the staff, backroom staff who I've worked with quite a lot. Andrew Crofts, Rylands Morgan, and James Rowbury. For me, it was nigh on perfect. And I think Craig has said that himself afterwards, as he could have hoped for. But it was a demolition job. And me and Nathan was talking on the way up that, you know, North Macedonia, okay, is it a big name? And they've been on an unbelievable run. They've drawn away
games, qualifiers,
big games, unbeaten, only conceded 3. I just thought the Welsh team and the way they set up and the way they executed a game plan last night was absolutely phenomenal. And I was getting little hairs on the back of my neck now just saying that because they were that good.
Well, I asked our audience for the one-word replies on what they thought of the performance.
That's why you stand up and clap.
Yeah, Redwall News said scintillating. Couldn't argue with that, really. I also asked inspiring, says Colin on X. Bring on the Republic of Ireland, he says. We'll talk about that in a moment. And this is a great one. Amanda Jones, 81. Hello, Amanda. Bonkers, she said. When you get to 5, it's supposed to be one word, but she didn't read the script, obviously. She said, when you get to 5 goals, the rest after that almost becomes silly nonsense. Like the game ended ages ago and now you're just mucking about because you don't want to go home yet. Don't forget to pick up Blakey on the way. We think he's still celebrating at CCS.
Yeah, I feel like it. I swear, I'm so tired. I feel all my face is puffy and everything. I couldn't go to sleep. I was... like I say, I was on cloud 16 yesterday. I found it hard to come down after the commentary. You get home, like wanted that physically, like, but like was buzzed, like still couldn't get over it. I just thought it was a magnificent performance, and the goals, like I couldn't believe people were leaving like on 80 minutes. I think they would have missed the last goal or last 2 goals. They like people going like what was her name? Sorry, Amanda said there like after 5 goals, it's just like really. It was like pantomime stuff. It was they were sensational, like Mike said. I just thought like that's why I stood up, broke the rules. You don't give that level of respect because you're always writing badness, looking for naughty stories. But me, as ex-player, I can appreciate the performance. So sometimes no words can explain. Just have to give a round of applause.
It was scintillating. Mike, I want to ask you. This is what Craig Bellamy said afterwards. He came out with 2 great quotes. First of all, he said, "I've always been taught pressure is for tyres, not on a football pitch," which I love. But then he said, "Tonight was as close to perfect as I could have asked for. I don't believe I'm a perfect person. I've never met one who is, but that was fantastic." Now, I'd only quibble with that in that I've met Craig Bellamy. What's he saying? He's never met a perfect person. Joke. Oh, look at Blakey looking really serious. What does a coach think when something... Have you had a game like that where you've been in charge and virtually nothing goes wrong?
I had a few where virtually nothing goes right, but yeah. No, there has been. I think, go back to the playoff game against Forest Green at home, where the first leg, we won 2-0. It should have been 4 or 5.
Yeah.
We were excellent. We were superb that night. I'm sure there's been many others as well, but I'm really over the moon and pleased for Craig. He's for me, he's growing. Like he's getting better and better and better. And look, he's never been short of any confidence. He's had a fantastic playing career as well. Let's not, forget that. But his intensity, I just think he was the perfect fit for the Welsh job with this young team, the young squad he's got to bring him through. Because another word, it's going to be 2 words, but that is a huge confidence builder.
Yeah.
Going into these playoffs. If they would have just scraped through, it would have been, right, okay, but nobody will want to play Wales now.
Oh, no, I think he needed a win as well, didn't he, Nath? Because it's been lackluster.
I keep saying
lackluster is the wrong word. Underwhelming so far in the group until that 7.
I keep saying it's form, and you can't maintain top form all the time. Those who can maintain it 70%, 80%, 90% can play at the top, but it's like you can't say if anybody... 100% of my career I was in great form. It happens. They've started like a house on fire. They've gone like 9, 10 games unbeaten, and then they've hit a bit of a downward turn. And I think they lost to Belgium late on. That would have felt like a loss. That was a loss, but it would have felt worse than a loss because the circumstance of getting back into the game, got back to 3-3 and then concede the 4th goal. And then after that, you've got the USA and the England games. I mean, for me, the England game was a bit punishing because we weren't able to adopt anything we do.
No.
They were just too good for us, basically. So we weren't in great form. And then Liechtenstein, I was there doing the game. And it's a mentality thing. And I always say, you don't mean it as a player. You don't mean to go out and not be like at this level. But Mike, you're playing when I remember being at like Sheffield, different at Cardiff. If we were playing a team like Inter Cardiff in the Welsh Cup, you think, someone will win the game for us.
Yeah.
Right? So
is it subconscious as much as
anything? Yeah. But then you're playing against Manchester City and you're like, no, I'm going to win the game for us.
Yeah.
Right? Today, it's like that sort of feeling. And I just thought Wales, when they went to Liechtenstein, they played the game knowing they were going to win. Whereas last night, you don't know. You've got to step up. So psychologically, the way we started, every time we need to pull out the result at the Cardiff City Stadium, we've done it probably 9 times out of 10. We've been unbelievable.
Yeah.
And we can swarm teams. I think last night, the worry was the missing players was going to affect big time. But those players would come in and like players like Brennan Johnson coming back before him, Dan James. That four of Wilson, James, help me out, Brooks. They were everywhere. They were just like, you know what I mean? They were so good last night. So it's a psychological thing, mate. You weigh up those two performances.
Yeah, no,
days
totally
apart,
different.
and you think, well, really and truly, the first performance should have what you seen last night because that's where all your energy is in the first game. But to have enough energy to then perform like you did last night, that's why I say, like, the science when they say, oh, he's redlining and all that. Yeah. I say, no, like adrenaline and psychology, like the brain is a different tool.
Yeah, the stats have been really impressive. I mean, they haven't conceded 7 since they played England in 2023, Macedonia. I was looking at their results.
We haven't scored.
First time,
58.
78.
78
against Malta, when and that game was significant because Ian Edwards got 4. He's the only player to have done that. Do you remember the other scorers, any chance? You born in 78? I can't remember.
No, I wasn't born then.
I was 6.
Yeah. So do you remember the other scorers?
I wasn't even
I'll
playing
give you 2.
I wasn't even playing football. He's trying to big himself up now.
No,
I was
Brian,
6. He's going to get
Brian
one over
Flynn
on me.
got
Brian
one.
Flynn.
Your namesake, Flinny.
There you go.
Mickey T. And a guy called Peter O'Sullivan, who I hadn't remembered, but he used to play for Man U and Fulham, winger. 7 against Malta in a European tie. But I think even more, and first hat-trick since Bale for Harry Wilson. Brilliant hat-trick. He was superb, wasn't he? But I actually think the more important thing is, and we'll look ahead now, first time the Bellamy has won 2 games in the same window. And that's what we're going to have to do in March.
Well, I didn't realise that because I've been so impressed with, I don't know, like Nathan said, performance-wise, they had maybe a bit of a dip. But, that is a huge confidence builder. This is what we're going to have to do. And I'm very optimistic of what this squad can achieve and hopefully get us to a World Cup.
Yeah, because you imagine going back in March now, right, next year, and you've won 1-0 and 1-0, 2 games. You look at the Liechtenstein, the video, the clips, could have done this better, could have done that better. Then you look at the Macedonia game, yeah, good, but could have done this better, could have done that better. What you're going to do now is you're going to clip up the Macedonia game, probably look at the negative, which is the goal, down the centre. Can't afford to do that against top teams. But then the rest is like, look how well you done this. Look how great we were there. Look how brilliant we were. Look how quick we got to that. So it's all positive. You come out of the meetings like, ha, ha, ha. Do you know what I mean? You're ready to go again. So the importance of that result is not just the win. How you win is performance, right?
Yeah.
You're entertaining. That's what I always say.
Oh, lifted the whole
Sport is
nation, didn't it? I know it's a
the
cliche,
whole
but they did.
nation,
Yeah.
right? That's spot on, Rob. That's how it felt. Like people just, I couldn't stop grinning, mate. I swear. People walking past, people I didn't know I was high-fiving.
Well, there's different ways to win, but like I was saying to someone last night, I watched Wales rugby on the weekend, and
I wouldn't allowed to swear on this podcast.
They were cheering like they'd won the World Cup, the fans. But I don't blame them because they hadn't seen their team win at home for about 2 years. No. So I'm all
Against
for
who?
Against Japan. Yeah, but
mate,
I can understand
I can understand
the relief and the elation.
Yeah, I wouldn't put those two together though.
Well, I would, because we don't often get 2. Lately, we haven't had 2 Wales wins in a week, have we?
Hey, we want them both to win, the rugby and the football.
Yeah,
the national teams, we want them both doing well. And
absolutely, but we want them to win.
I'm glad we did get that
opposition and get the competition.
That off our backs.
Yeah, absolutely. So by the time some people enjoy this podcast, they will know the draw. So all we can do is speculate at the moment. So Wales will be in pot 2, along with Poland, Czechia, Slovakia. So they can't play any of those. And they will play one of pot 3. Ireland, Republic of Ireland, Albania, Bosnia, and Kosovo. Kosovo finished second in Group B behind Switzerland, ahead of Slovenia and Sweden. 1 defeat in 10. Thought Albania looked all right against England on the weekend when I watched that game.
I wouldn't mind Kosovo away, actually. I'd be able to go and see some friends of mine over there, Pristina.
Bosnia
Lovely
got
place.
knocked out of the World Cup automatically by a late goal from Austria. They were finished ahead of Romania, Cyprus and San Marino. And Ireland, well, they beat Portugal last week and then did
they're
the
going to be on
ridiculous thing against Hungary, didn't they?
They're going to be on the up. They're going to be
Exactly.
feeling exactly how the Welsh fans and Welsh players and staff are feeling after last night, because to go and beat Portugal, that alone was, a difficult ask. And then the way in which they beat Hungary, that the last minute goal as well, is special. And obviously Scotland have done very similar last night, where that was a crazy end to the game, and
It's brilliant.
it was brilliant.
Scotland, the Scotland situation, the Ireland situation, our situation. It's just football. I love it, mate.
I saw loads of ex-posts last night saying, people who don't like football, people who don't like sport just don't get it.
It's how you get addicted, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is.
If that was your first night
It's an
last
addiction.
night, or the Scottish game was your first night as a fan, or the Irish game was your first, can you imagine how you like? That's why people that one game last night, people will be like 10 years old, have gone, and in 30 years' time they'll be taking their own children, going, I remember we beat North Macedonia at 7. It will happen one day again.
I heard a fan last at the Cardiff City Stadium talking to his boy behind me saying, they will never be better than that. It doesn't get much better than that,
to
honest.
witness the perfect.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with some performance.
Yeah.
Outrageous from a depleted team.
Yeah.
And like I said, the worry of no Ampadu, no Jordan James, who, I understood about Jordan, but at the same time, Craig wasn't playing Jordan in all of his games. So Ethan is
Mainstay.
Yeah. So I understood, but I thought Sheehan, Cullen, those players come in, you know what I mean? Brennan Johnson, welcome back, Bree.
Delivered. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Because you've been saying stuff about
Well, he's just
him
under
that was about
form.
to-
He's out of form. He's not. It's you can't. I never say, my thing is, and I don't go, he's this or he's that or he's that, or he's rubbish or no, mate. He's just not in good form, and I understand. Michael knows there's 101 reasons behind in your normal day-to-day life that could be affecting why you're not in good form. Because sometimes some things are more important.
Yeah.
So
we eagerly await the draw, and if it's already happened, so who do you say you wanted, Mike?
I don't want Ireland. I'd love to see Ireland and Wales go to
Yeah,
the
I
World
would
Cup.
too.
It'd be some atmosphere over in the US.
my mates over in
away.
Dublin, they'll
We've,
love it.
Okay, so you don't want Ireland. Do you want Kosovo, Albania or Bosnia?
I'm going to be quite confident here and back Craig's team to beat
Okay.
any of them.
I'm going to say Kosovo.
Okay.
This is a great night out and it's lovely food and I've got good friends there.
And as I say,
Although they wouldn't really be, one of us
It might
would
not be
going
so
home.
friendly there.
yeah.
Go on, Nick.
Yeah.
And in the draw, of course, then they will also map out where Wales play there if they get through the semi-final, where they play the final, and who they'll play against.
Who do you want, Rob?
Who do I want? I would
Yeah.
probably take Bosnia, maybe. I might take Bosnia.
Okay.
I think they have still got Edin Dzeko up front, which is a danger, but I might take Bosnia. And pot 1 teams are Italy, Denmark, Turkey and Ukraine. Pot 4, Sweden, Romania, North Macedonia, Northern Ireland. If Wales have got to play a
It's gonna
pot
be
1
tough, man.
team,
It is tough.
which one are you thinking? Denmark, maybe?
No, I watched bits of that game as well. I watched bits of that back. They were quite dominant after the first 5 minutes up to 70 minutes. I think at one point it was 17 shots to 1. And
was it? Right,
Scotland
okay.
were winning 1-0. Obviously, an unbelievable goal by McTominay.
Yeah.
But, no, Denmark, they always seem to end up at a big tournament as well. So, no, I want to
wouldn't go
leave
with
that
Denmark.
one.
Yeah.
I think Italy are bang out of form at the minute, depending where it was.
Yeah.
Italy home, I take.
Yeah, of course. But, depending where the draw takes us, I think that front four last night, they'll cause anybody. If the press is right and all the triggers that they've worked on, that front four is enough to cause damage and get behind any defence.
Brilliant. Well, I think we'll leave that for now. Move on to domestic matters. Although I should say, now we're established on the Rob and Blakey's Comedy podcast. If there are any sponsor or advertisers out there want to come and talk to us about helping to support us, because we are growing, then we'd love to hear from you. All you have to do is email robandblakey@gmail.com. Swansea City dispatched Alan Sheehan. They're playing Bristol City on Saturday. They look to have lost it on Kim Hellberg of Hammarby in Sweden, because he looks like he's going to Middlesbrough. May even be confirmed now. And the hottest favourite is Vitor Matos, currently in Portuguese second division side Maritimo.
Can't say I know anything about him or Maritimo.
Well, I'll tell you a bit, shall I? Because
Okay,
I've been doing my homework. 2 years
Yeah.
coaching at Shandong Luneng in China.
Easy for you to say.
5 years as, without a mistake. Mind you, I do like Chinese food, so I'm pretty
Told
good on
you.
Cantonese.
I've never seen a man eat so much.
5 years as elite development coach at Liverpool, monitoring and adapting players, moving them towards first team.
Mm-hmm.
Joined Pep Linders at Red Bull Salzburg, and then was appointed Maritimo boss in Liga 2 in Portugal. They're third at the moment after 11 games. Mike, you know the sort of coach that Swansea look for. They've been pretty consistent. They like a head coach, rather than a manager. Does he sound the sort of guy that might make a difference?
Look, only time will tell on that. What I will say, if he's worked with Pep Linders, he would pick up some very, very good coaching methodology and techniques, shall we say, because Pep Linders is one of the best I've seen, in terms of putting on sessions and coaching. But as we found out, being a coach and the main man in charge, it's a lot different. So it'd be interesting to see how that works out. But in terms of putting out the style of play, I'm sure that he'll be able to do that.
So you met Pep Linders on the FAW.
Yeah,
coaching coach.
I was with Pep on the FAW coach. We did all our badges all the way through, and look, he stood out. He did stand out in terms of the coach education of how he went about it, and he's done his groundwork. He worked at Porto a long time, PSV. Then he went to Liverpool. And he's an unbelievable coach. He's so enthusiastic, which is key for the players because they've got to buy into it. But he's very knowledgeable. So that would have passed on to him, and hopefully he's taken a lot of that on board. So it's going to be interesting. But again, the Championship is a brutal league, and you've got to have a good start.
Yeah. And I would talk about what it's like to be sacked. Alan Sheehan's going through. Probably had to get over it now, hasn't he?
You can switch your phone off as well.
I have, but I had to look at the post tonight. What do you think, Nathan? It may not be done, as I said, we're speaking rather...
About Swansea?
Yeah, it may not be done by Bristol City on Saturday, which is a tough ask, a derby game, 12:30.
Yeah.
Could be Darren O'Day takes
when the chips are down, often you see a response from the players,
Well, Liam Keller's going to go back to camp buzzing, isn't he?
I'm talking from the Sheehan sort of situation. We never know what's going on in the dressing room. The players might be delighted he's gone, and you might see a massive performance. The players might be absolutely devastated he's gone. You might see a downward performance. Or you might just see a good or bad performance. It's just, you don't know. It's fly on the wall, isn't it? That's what you need to be. You need to be the fly on the wall, and you're never going to get that situation. So it's, Swansea players got to come out and perform. It's a derby, I suppose. I suppose they call it a derby as well. And they got to get back into some sort of form. It's always difficult. I think when there's no head coach or manager, it's an easy out for the players. Do you know what I mean? Because you're not being led by anyone. But then, like I said, the flip side is sometimes it can be pressure off and just go out and play.
And you look at it, if there is no manager in charge, those players have got to surely know that whoever the new man is, He's going to be in that
Could be
crowd.
watching.
He's going to be watching. And if he's not in the crowd, he's definitely watching the game somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, with everything you can watch games these days, he'll be watching that game. So he'll be looking at the attitude of the players, the ability of the players. Obviously, he knows a lot of it, but whoever it is, because they would have had to done their homework. So I think it's a free hit for Swansea on the weekend against a good Bristol City team.
Yeah.
I think I think the other thing as well, which I always say is the most important thing, is recruitment.
Yeah.
So if you're getting coaches, then the recruitment's down to the club. And, you know, I didn't understand how a lot of people saying, the recruitment was all Sheehan. And he's a coach. So I think Swansea, you've got to get that balance between what's upstairs, recruitment, and head coach. That triangle has to be all in unison. Once one breaks ranks, one starts saying, you're done. Like, I've seen it at clubs when it was just managers and, you know, board members or owners or chair. Once those two split, it comes tumbling
it's a
down.
Blaming culture.
Yeah, it all comes tumbling down. And then there's lots of stabbing and you want to be on my side instead of, like, I always used to think it was pathetic. Was me.
Which brings us to Newport County. Whoever would have thought Cardiff would be the bastion of stability in South Wales, perched between Swansea and Newport, who are sort of, at the time of broadcasting, at the time of recording, both managerless. Dave Hughes went on Saturday, immediately after the game against Shrewsbury, in the tunnel or on the pitch.
Well. Yeah,
Extraordinarily, came out and did an interview. Having been sacked.
Just need to get this stuff together. You know, it's ridiculous. I mean, I've lived in Newport most of my life, and, you know, I know the importance of the club. I remember, like, back in the day, the youth firm, like, those of my friends were like little football hooligans and all that. It means a lot. It's meant a lot to a lot of people. You know, you go there now, they get like 4,500, 5,000. You know, they got a good contingent of 2,000, 3,000.
I think they're 10th in the overall averages, something like that. Which is ridiculous, really.
You just, they just never, they don't build. They don't build, like, they don't plan long term. They don't, and like I've said before, I know, like, trying to get facilities and stuff like that, also a problem. You know what I mean? With the council and what have you. I say, like, the council got a part to play as well. I always point to Brighton and say, like, 15 years ago, Brighton were arguing, like, less than that. They didn't have a ground. No. And the council were like, gave them the stadium and whoosh. Look at Bournemouth. You know, what they've been able to do.
Swansea as well.
Yeah, like, went all over Europe, 6, 7 seasons in the Premier League and whatever. You've got to support them. The problem for me is in Newport is you've got the club and then you've got the council wants something totally different, right? And I keep saying, like, there's a lot of pressure on Hugh at the moment, but I also know through other sources that trying to get a training ground and things like that, it's just impossible.
It is, and apparently their training was disrupted last Friday.
Right, so
by a B coaching session on the same thing. Yeah.
How do you grow, Rob, if you've not got your own facility?
But
I know it's a slightly different.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean, for the manager, but I'm looking at, like, if Michael's manager at Newport and he's got his own facilities, and I don't mean porta cabins, I mean a proper training ground, 4 or 5 pitches, you know, nice little canteen area, what have you, because it's your second home as a player.
Yeah, quite, yeah.
You want to spend time there, right? But not understanding that, or, like, not helping that to grow is only holding back financial sort of gain for the whole of the city.
But they are where they are now, Mike. Another manager is gone. A head coach is gone. Tell me how it feels, because you've been a manager. You know how it feels to get the sack.
We didn't bring him on to talk about getting sacked.
No, but we won't. No,
it's fine. I'm not the first, and I definitely won't be the last.
you know, it's inevitable. When a manager takes his job, the one thing he knows is one day, very rarely do you part company
Rob Edwards
on great terms, is it? No.
can walk out.
Well, yeah, you can walk out, but
It's still not great terms.
exactly. So, Mike, tell me how Dave Hughes is feeling deep down today.
Well, the first one, I think it's like your first girlfriend when well, I've never experienced this, but I've been told when you get done by your first girlfriend, you know, it breaks your heart. And you know, I feel for Dave and Wayne, obviously, who I know, you know, he's a good close friend of mine. I feel for them. It's difficult. You start questioning yourself. You're looking back at, you know, one thing I didn't do when I got sacked at Walsall was I didn't look for excuses. You know, I knew what was going on, but I looked at myself first. What could I have done better? What didn't I do that I should have done? And they're the first things where you try to come to terms with, because they're the only things you can affect.
Control.
Anything else around the place is ultimately comes down to winning football matches, you know, not bad mouthing the club on social media, you know, all the different reasons why you can get sacked, and I'm saying there and giving examples for. But you always want to try and leave out, you know, through the front door. I've been taught that from, you know, since I was playing. But yeah, he'll be questioning himself. He'll be a little bit low. You know, I did give him a message Saturday or Sunday. I think I left him alone, and I went for dinner with Hats on Sunday. So yeah, they're disappointed. Obviously, nobody likes to lose their job. And what a lot of people, I'm going to say, what a lot of people don't get, and you can say is our fault because the industry we work in. Everybody knows when you've been sacked as a football manager or, you know, a coach. It's everywhere. You know, I'm sure if you were in America, you could find out that, you know, David Hughes has been sacked by Newport County. So everybody knows your business. Go and get sacked from your local store. You know, if you're working at Tesco's or a building site, nobody knows. So
that's a good point.
Again, it's that, you know, the things that people don't see. But, you know, he's an educated man. Dave is a very nice guy. You know, he's worked at Manchester United, FAW. I'm sure that he'll come back and he'll be better for it.
Yeah. You don't have to say it, neither of you, but I do think when you talk about that triangle, Nate, I think Hugh Jenkins takes a lot of responsibility for the place they're in at the moment. Dave Hughes had no control over recruitment. He was given players that he had to get on with. I know that he suggested some players, they didn't come through the door. Everybody could see Newport crying out for experience in the midfield. A Joss Labadie type figure from your days, Mike. But it is what it is. He pulled the trigger on Saturday. Lee Kendall stays. I've seen Mark Sampson, though I'm not sure. I don't think that will happen. I've seen Steve Bruce, and I'm thinking, well, got the money to get Steve Bruce. I mean, this is all talk because Hugh Jenkins keeps everything very close to his chest. What do they need, Nathan?
Miracle. They're doing everything like almost to get relegated. Do you know what I mean? You've got and everyone can see it. I think that's why the fans are so anti-Hugh at the moment, because it's like he clearly disagrees. He clearly must think that squad is strong enough to be higher up.
Well, he said it, didn't he?
Well, you know, he clearly thinks that they're strong enough to be higher up in the league. He clearly thinks that they're better than what they're actually showing. But I think 99% of the footballing population disagrees. You know, said from day one they needed experienced players. Said from day one to bring Welsh League players into your first team and expect them to step up to League 2 football. Yeah, you'll get one or two. If you give me 50 players, I might get 3 out of there.
And Lee Jenkins has done that, to be fair.
Yeah, I might get 3 out of there. But, you know, remember, that's at Newport.
Yeah.
So if you were to go to the other end of the scale and go to Gillingham or Notts County, could you produce at that level up there where the expectation is then for promotion?
And I actually think now, I agree with what you're saying. Mate. Yeah, I do. And I think what you say is spot on. And I actually think, Mike, that if they get out of this now, it's almost better than your great escape. You're 11 points down with 12 games to go, weren't
I
you?
wouldn't say that, Rob, but go
All
on.
right. No, and I tell you why I
know.
say, because you had Labadie.
We had a better squad.
Yeah, you
we
did.
had a better squad, and that I've got no problem saying this. That's some credit to me, some credit to Graham Wesley, some great credit to Warren Feeney. You know, those people who were there, John Sheridan, who were in that period.
Yes, sir.
But I'm going to try and be a little bit pragmatic. I know Nathan said he thinks we need. I'm saying we Newport. We need a miracle. Let's try and flip it around now. There's 30 games left. They're going to need 1.3 points per game on average over the course of those games. Big FA Cup game coming in 2 weeks. New manager comes in. If they can win one either side of the FA Cup and win the FA Cup game, get a big third round draw. And it's all ifs, buts and maybes, but we've seen it happen in the past.
You know.
That could give some funds. A new investor could come in, and I'm not sure of Hughes' financial position on it, but if a new investor come in and wanted a piece of the FA Cup magic and has put some money in, then they could spend in January, as long as they're not too far away in January. Because, and the other thing that's happened in this league, the money has gone through the roof.
It's gone crazy.
There's players, you know, a couple of teams in the league are on nearly £10,000 a week. That's unheard of.
Yeah.
And it's not just one or two; these are 4 or 5. There's budgets. So when I was at Newport, there was only like 3 or 4 teams were over 2 million budget. Now there's only 3 or 4 teams with under 2 million budget. The rest, then you're not talking 2.2, 2.3. They're more 2.5, 3 million, 3.5, and there's one who are close to 8.5 in this league, which is phenomenal. Right, and it's gone like that for the last 2 or 3 years. I thought COVID was supposed to skint everybody out, but the money has gone through the roof. So again, trying to strengthen your squad in January, you know, sounds all well and good. Yeah, we can do it, but it's going to cost. It's going to need to be money spent, and that's not saying you can't do it without, but you're going to need some.
But even if
you're
you look
going to need a fighting chance.
If you look at someone like Salford, like great budget, but nowhere near it.
No,
right?
no,
yeah.
no.
It doesn't equate to success. The money doesn't equate to success. What it allows you to do is
Helps.
Yeah, you're in amongst where you can put things together where what you're building can be successful. Like if you said to me, I'll give you 10 million or £1 million, or I'll give you £100,000 to rebuild Newport, I'm going to be able to do more work with £1 million. That just stands to reason, right? It's obvious. But also, it's how I spend that money, where I spend that money. I got to think long term. I got to think mid-term, and I got to think about today or tomorrow. So it's, at the moment, I think whatever the situation is, I don't think anyone thought that Newport would be in a worse situation having Hugh Jenkins in. I think most people thought, at last, pressure off the supporters, trust kind of thing. We've got a decent owner. He's got a good track record. He's got a bit of money. Not expecting to bankrupt himself, but, you know, we expect the budget to be decent, to be able to challenge, whatever you. I think that was just the normal thought process of all of us, right? But it's gone the other way where the budget is way too low. Your team and the players you're bringing in
not good enough.
Aren't good enough to, like I said, stepping down from when you're on loan from a Liverpool or Man United or this or that. You know, just because you're on loan from Man United, it doesn't mean you're going to have a career in football.
So,
doesn't mean.
So yeah, I do. And the elephant in the room, Mike. Let's first explain. You were invited onto this podcast weeks ago.
Yeah.
And this is the first week you could make it, and you've turned down others. So we're really grateful about that. But the elephant in the room, and I know county fans will be listening to this saying, "Well, go on, then ask him." Mike Flynn. You go back to Newport County, have you been approached, or because you're a manager out of work and you've done the Great Escape?
No, not for me. I've not been approached. You know, I've got an invested love for the club. Not just my relationship with him. Played for him. His home. My son's in the academy. The last thing I want to do is see Newport go out of the league. Again, going back to when Nathan was talking earlier about Newport. fans, talking about the fans, the council, the owners, whichever way. Don't forget, there's a lot of supporters that have seen this club go before, and that is the last thing they want. So
not many David Andos out there
no,
these days.
there's not. And look, I think Norman could take that mantle, but he's still a bit young. Norman passed on.
Yeah.
But you know, on a serious note, you know, if you know, I haven't been approached, and
would you do the job?
It depends on a lot of things, Nathan. You know, don't forget, I wouldn't want to be the one to take my hometown club down. Now, they were desperate before. There was no way out. I had nothing to lose. I had to get in and
learn on the job
and
right?
try, and try and get something out of the players to almost produce what was like a mini miracle. Now, for me, it's a catalogue of errors from other people that I could still get the blame for. So, you know, it's that responsibility that I've got to think of. And again, I've rushed into jobs in the past, and it's not worked out. It's always started well, and it's not worked out for me. It's some my fault or whatever. But going back to the budget and things, it's a very similar budget to the Cheltenham one. As soon as you get a couple of injuries in that, you know, you're signing players who have floated around, who got ability but are not consistent. You start getting a few injuries to the ones that you really rely on, and you're in big trouble, because that squad, you know, you're trying to work with what you got, and then once those players, a few get injured, you know, one game I think we played Salford away, we actually drew. We had an 18 and 19-year-old at the back, centre backs. You know, unless they're both Ben White, you're in trouble.
Can I ask you one thing? I look at the Newport squad, and I've said it to Rob, and it's not just now, I've said it for years. I see players who I then don't see improve. So, like the coaching and stuff like that. So, say, like Kieran Rye.
He's gone.
Yeah. But I remember when he was there. So, I used to say to Rob, like, so physical development doesn't change. What's his name, the right back now?
Is Jordan Thomas? Is it Jordan Thomas?
Yeah.
The one they got from Welsh League?
Yeah. He's quite tall, quite thin.
Yeah.
Physique hasn't changed. Not in the slightest. Maybe age changed, but hasn't changed as in, okay, I'm in League Two. I need to be more physical. I need to have a better frame. I need to be stronger, because my ambition is to go to League One and Championship and what have you. So, like, if you haven't got the physical attribute, you can gain them. Also, then I would say, I see players who come on loan, and I think to myself, all players you've brought from Welsh League or from, I don't see players improve that much. Is it because there's not enough time to coach, or is there not much time to take on yourself? Because I remember personally going to Sheffield United, and I was okay as a frame, but then we used to go to Don Valley, and actually he's got Ed, I can't remember Ed's second name, he was a great guy, but he was a specialist in weight training and this and that, and my physique changed in 6 months. Do you know what I mean?
It's tough though, isn't it, when you're fighting for existence?
No.
Like,
But
I'm talking about players.
Well, fighting for existence, you still have to train every day.
Yeah.
I think some of that, a lot of the game's changed from when we played, even from when I was first manager to now.
Now, yeah.
It's, you know, like you said about when you're in the red zone and things like that, you know, there's S&C saying, oh, you can't do this, you can only do this on certain days. But ultimately, for your frame to change and for you to get quicker, you know, when I first went to Wigan, you know, probably after 6 months, started building muscle.
Absolutely.
But after that, I realised that I needed to get quicker. So I was doing, you know, myself and Jimmy Bullard were doing a lot of sprint training 3 times a week before training. We were getting in early and doing it then. I don't see any players doing anything. I don't know what they do away. You know, away from the place. You don't know. What I will say is there's players that I've worked with, the likes of Ben White, Antoine Semenyo, Scott Twine. Now, Scott Twine would go out on the training pitch. We'd be calling him to come in, and he's hitting free kicks and corners constantly. Now, there's no coincidence that he keeps putting him in the back of the net, because he is probably as accurate as I've seen with a free kick than You look at the stats, even Ronaldo's, your Beckham's, he practices that much on a day. I'm
Ward
not
Prowse.
saying he's as good as them, by the way. What I'm saying is,
his
that,
ratios are.
On that, taking free kicks, he is as good as them because his stats are proving it. Now, he practice and practice and practice. How many of them actually do extras above and beyond? You don't know, because
I find that remarkable.
Yeah, I find that remarkable as
I'm
well,
like,
yeah.
if I like at Cardiff, I remember we used to have the gym at Cardiff was like, it was older than you, Rob. It was like it was
Hang on a minute.
It was an old like nothing worked on it. It was like rusty. It was a nightmare. But so we never really done any weight training or anything like that. And then when I went to Sheffield, didn't have our own training ground, but they had it sorted that you went and worked out with this guy, like I said, Ed. I used to go, me, AD, Little John used to go to Don Valley. It's the other side of the city. But you know why I'm doing it. I know why. I'm not doing it because I'm being told to do it. I'm doing it because, like, I need to be more robust. I need to be quicker. I need to be stronger.
You want to be better.
I want to be better. And I just don't see... Oh, man. I could name a few players at Newport at the moment I'm looking at and thinking, that's why I say, I could make you better.
Yeah. Well,
I could make you a better player.
I just want to say that I don't know what they do, but there's, I have seen in the past that players can't wait to get off the training pitch now.
Yeah.
Whereas we had to be kicked off.
Yeah, it was.
It was
just fooled around,
just,
right?
well, yeah.
Given that, then, Mike, do you want to go back into football somewhere? Because you've done your education as well, haven't you? Tell us about that, and then your motivations now.
Well, yeah, I've done my degree in sports journalism and media. I did it whilst I was playing, so it was a 2-year course in Staffordshire University. So I wanted to have a degree behind me. I stayed on in school at my A level, so quite educated. I know I don't always act it, but educated. I've since done diploma with the LMA in leadership and business, and now I've just going to graduate in 2 weeks up at Liverpool University for my postgrad. I've done that. I've got bits and bobs going on with the properties, but we were saying earlier, football is it's an addiction. Of course, I want to get back in, but I've got to make sure that it's right for me, the family, and that doesn't mean I won't move away. I'll move away. I'll go abroad. If the project is right, then there's no guarantees in football. You could go move your whole family, I don't know, let's just say to Spain, and you don't start off very well. 3 months, you're back home. You know, your tail between your legs, so to speak. But I'd rather do that and experience, going for something than not going for it, because you'll never achieve anything in life if you don't go for anything.
Does your education help you, give you a bigger perspective on football, a wider perspective? Is that because you've done that while you've been playing and managing?
It gives me a bigger perspective in terms of, I think I can do more roles, within football, definitely, But also as well, you look at the flip side, there's a lot of people getting jobs in football who have never played the game. So does that really matter in terms of, right, okay, why doesn't it, apply to, let's just say I haven't gone and done a degree in medicine to be, around the football doctor. I'm not saying be a doctor, of course, because that's one of the serious positions that is needed in football, and they do graft very hard. But probably the wrong example. But what I'm saying is, for the S&C coach to tell a player that he can't train because what it says on a computer. I think it was Patrick Vieira who said that if that was the case, he would never have played.
Yeah.
I think it's a complete madness.
But
you can't, the science can, I always say, so, okay, Michael's redlining in training or in a game, let's say, 75, 80 minutes, Michael's redlining, S&C, right, you have to take him off. What happens when Michael scores? I don't know what happens to that red line, but I guarantee you it's totally different, because the adrenaline, the burst of energy, and you've seen players look tired, right? 3-0 down, we get 1. Ooh, actually, bang, we get 2. Actually, Newport Bristol Rovers. Back into it, right? You were thinking it was dead and buried. Can't run, knackered, the boys are, get one, get two, and all of a sudden you push it. So I would say to the S&C coach, like, I think science only says they know 5% of the mind. There's things happening in the human body and the brain that they're totally unaware of.
Yeah,
Just because your computer says it, you know like this much. Because like I said, if Michael's tired in the 85th minute and then all of a sudden he scores and it's 2-1 and they're trying to get back in the game, or 1-1, they're trying to win the game, I'd tell you that red line will go away.
I remember you scoring at Wickham on Boxing Day. You ran a mile after that.
Trust me, I bet I was redlined after the first 5 minutes. But
Just what I'm saying, Mike.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense to me.
There is, like, for me, it's definitely a part of the GPS and everything
Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
and we do a wellness. So when I'm in clubs, do a wellness. How do you sleep? What's your mood? And soreness. So you can have a graph to help prevent injuries, which.
Wellness. That's changed.
Yeah, but you can, like you said earlier, you never know. One of the players, he might have just had a big argument with his wife, or his mum might be ill, or his dad was ill, and they didn't sleep all night. So that does put him at the risk of injury. Also, as well, you can get. Some players won't go up and tell you their problems. Some will. They come in and they'll tell you, they'll open their heart to you, and that's brilliant.
That's managing 20 guys, though,
yeah,
right?
That's brilliant.
That's the hardest part.
Of course, and that's the brilliant part then, because then you can treat them accordingly. If look, my mum's not very well, for example, and I'm saying that because my mum died when I was playing, but my mum's not very well, so I haven't slept all night. Right, then you're not thinking then he's moping around the session, trying to spoil the session because he might not be playing, for example, or he's looking for a move. It takes away all those things. So when they open up, and that can help. But when they don't, you can almost identify certain patterns. If they're tired every Monday morning, it probably tells me they've had a heavy Saturday and I'm slept well on the Sunday.
So, I mean, we're doing this from the University of South Wales. Your education, you just said, has given you a wider perspective on things. But the one thing I'll say about you is you're a social character. You make, I assume, friends in the game pretty easily. So you're on the course with Thierry Henry, aren't you?
Yeah.
And you've got him in touch, haven't you? You've been in touch with him since on the FAW course and the others as well. And I always remember as well the day after you played Man City in the FA Cup at Rodney Parade, the lot of them. I mean, just to see him walking on that pitch at that time was just ridiculous.
It was a bit scary at first, I'll be honest.
It was. But then, I think it's Notts County the following Tuesday, I was doing the game and you said, I've had a lovely text off Pep. That makes you a bit different to other managers, doesn't it? No, because there's a way of acting as a manager, I think. And so you've got respect from someone like Pep to say, I mean, the fact that he's got your number, you've got his number, is something else.
We still speak now. We still speak now, and obviously I won't go into details, but when his 1,000th game, we spoke, we had a couple of messages as well after that. So it's amazing for me, and we've gone up there, me, my wife and the two boys went up, watched the game, gone in his office. Funny enough, it was against Luton, Rob Edwards was manager. So we went and met Rob on the Friday, done the stadium tour, then went to the game on the Saturday, when was in Pep's office afterwards, and then went training on the Sunday. So the players met all the Man City players, were with everyone, and it was just such a special, nice touch from Pep that I'll never forget. My kids will never forget it, and my wife won't forget it. You know what I mean? She's some good-looking players at Man City, so she was happy. But yeah,
see what I mean?
But the thing is, education, and I'm not just saying it because we're at the university. The education, to be educated in anything you do in life, is important, because you want to make educated decisions on what you do, and you want to be more informed about why you're making those decisions. And that's a little bit why now that I've kind of distanced myself, or not approached the Newport situation, because I've got to make a decision based on what I know. Yeah. And I think that helps when you're thinking clearly. You've had an education or guidance along the way. You know, I've had some good guidance, the likes of Norman Parcell, who has been brilliant. You know, Andy Beattie growing up, even you know, myself and Nathan, but my wife, my great auntie, great uncle brought me up. My dad, mum, they've all been there, but you know, it's been on a steady a steady scale where it allows you to grow yourself without being, you know, like a copy of someone. I was an only child, so I couldn't copy anyone as well. So it gives you that belief. But in going back to, you know, the big names and everything, I think a bit of a lovable role character kind of thing. You know, they can feel themselves around me. They know that they can trust me. When you can trust somebody, it doesn't matter what walk of life you're from, you become friends.
Yeah. And what you find is most of us from a certain era are from similar sort of backgrounds.
Multicultural.
Yeah.
Yeah. Multicultural, brought up on like council estates and what
Likeable rogues, I'd call you too.
Well,
These are the same part.
Lovable rogues.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, Pill and Ringland did it.
Yeah, exactly.
They're, you know, the same
Baineswell,
thing.
I was.
Yeah. Well, there's Baineswell. Is there Baineswell? But it's. I always say it's down to wisdom, right? You've got to learn. You've got to have an understanding. If you've got a level of intelligence, common sense, we say like, you know, you've got to be streetwise. Like, it's nothing worse than not knowing the knowledge of what goes on the street, and then, you know, being able to take and go into like a higher level then, if you like, and have that sort of that knowledge of how things work. Because the streetwise gives you like who to trust, how to trust. You could read people. You know what I mean?
We still get it wrong, of course.
Yeah.
Because, you know.
Yeah, but more often than not, your alert goes up quicker and things like that on who you can trust, who you can trust, and things like that.
Well, we'll look with interest to see what you do next, Michael.
Yeah.
One thing, what's the highlight of your footballing career so far?
There's been a few. And I'll always go back to Newport because I think they meant the most. You know, making my debut in the Football League was one on a personal level, but I think the bigger effect on everybody I know and around the area I grew up, one was getting back to the Football League whilst a player at Wembley. First time I played at Wembley in my career. Wasn't like Nathan, a serial promoter. We just went up automatically when we did it.
Against all odds, to be honest.
But that one, that's up there. And people ask then about the Great Escape. Where do they both fit in? Now, for me, the Great Escape was probably just that tad more important, because if they went back then, I don't think they would have come back. Not without a rich, and I mean a very rich owner who just wanted to burn some money and get a non-league club, you know, up the leagues.
I remember looking at you on that day, the Great Escape.
When I had normal coloured hair, not grey.
No, yeah. But you were almost like, you were just in shock. You were like, he was very pale. He wasn't like, whoa. You were just like, I can't believe what we've just done.
Not as shocked as Mark O'Brien when he scored.
Yeah.
Well,
we were all stunned by that.
And again, you're going back to when players practice, believe it or not, Josh Labadie and Mark O'Brien would always be playing two-touch. You know, we're taking it, volleying it, mostly stitching each other up.
Yeah.
But trust me, it improved their touch.
Yeah.
They would do it every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Head tennis every day. And when he's coming on his chest, he's caught it sweet as a nut.
Yeah.
But
if you don't practice it, you probably don't catch it as sweet as a nut, right?
of course you don't.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
all timing.
It's anything. I'm trying to teach my kid now. My youngest, he's very good with his left foot, but he won't use it, and that's because he's programmed in at the minute. Right, let's get on the right and hit it with my strongest foot. Doesn't mean he can't use his left. No. He just won't, because he's not programmed, or he's not getting into his subconsciousness to get it onto his left at the minute. But as soon as he does that, he's gonna improve straight away.
Brilliant. Well, listen, we're going to bring this podcast to an end in a few minutes, but you mentioned 2013 when Newport got back into the league, beat Wrexham, of course, the hardest game I've ever commentated on. Hardest game, because I love the Wrexham lot.
They were a better team for an hour.
They were. my roots are in Newport, as everybody now knows, and I found it really tough. But Wrexham, to be fair, it took them a while, but they haven't looked back. 13th going into in the Championship now, going into the return of the Football League games, away to Ipswich, who put paid to Alan Sheehan at Swansea. 1 defeat in the last 10 league games. Nathan is smiling because he's tipped them for top 6. Nathan Broadhead took his tally to 4, nicking the goal of Isaac Davis for Wales.
Oh, yeah. I don't think, I'm not sure
Would
if
it
it
have gone
in.
in? All right, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Kiefer Moore should be fit, having missed Wales duty. You're
Prediction.
You're looking all right, mate.
I said to you, it's a
Tough
long
one,
old
Ipswich,
season.
mine.
Like Mark just
Away.
said,
Yeah.
30 games left and all that. It's a long old season. Listen, getting promoted out of the Championship is tough. I've done it
Yeah.
3 times, I think. It's tough, mate. You know, it like the game has changed in the sense that like players don't wear shin guards and all that anymore, which I find the pitches are unbelievable, bowling greens. But 46 games over the course of a season is tough.
Long way to go, but Moore and Broadhead going back to Ipswich could be tasty, couldn't it, on Saturday?
Yeah.
We mentioned Cardiff quickly. They're away at Northampton. Need to get
I'm
their
doing the
show
game. I'm doing the game.
back on. Oh, are you? Right,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm up there. Me and Simon Davis.
Isaac Davis, another Welsh international now in their ranks. And I thought Dylan Laura didn't put much of a foot wrong. In fact, of all the sweet moments, the one where he turned away from the striker, showed him one way and went the other in his own box.
He was excellent. Superb.
Brilliant. Do you know, he's a striker's, I keep saying he's a striker's dream. All right. Last week I said to him, don't let the striker turn, right? Get closer for the first goal as well. The block was shot because he could have gone across.
Yeah.
It's all learning. There's no malice. It's just, solutionizing, as I say. But last night, oh mate, he was Rolls Royce last night.
He is.
Someone so young. I like that partnership of him. I like the
dominance of Roden.
I love Roden. It's
Yeah,
whoa, I love that. But then it's like the other side. It's like all calm and peaceful and
finesse.
Beautiful. It's like ballet.
And do you know what Craig Bellamy said after the game last night? He said, I don't want to pick out individual players because they're all asking about the media, the press boys are asking about Brennan Johnson because they're Tottenham, they're Fleet Street guys there, one in the Tottenham angle, Harry Wilson and all this sort of. But he did mention Dylan Law and he said, he suits our style, the way I want to play.
Yeah. Yeah. Liverpool, remember? Alan Hansen, bring the ball out from the back 19. And all that. Emlyn Hughes.
And I've got to mention Josh Sheehan because I haven't yet. I thought he was absolutely
superb, man. He was.
And I'm so pleased for him.
I can't remember if you had him on loan. Was he you or had him on loan? Or was he there at Newport before you?
He was on loan before.
After.
No, he was on loan before.
But
right. Let's not forget, Josh has had 2 cruciates as well.
Yeah.
So
he's playing at a fantastic club.
Yeah, he's at Bolton. So Nathan has got a little soft spot there as well. So Newport and Bolton.
Played well against Cardiff, didn't he, Nathan?
But I was saying to Mike on the way in, sorry Mike, we were saying on the way in, like we were all worried, no John James, no Ethan Ampadu, and I was saying like, well, we could have played Sheehan, Ruben Cowell, Joe Cowell, we could have played them against Liechtenstein and, they would have handled Liechtenstein, no problem. This was the bigger game. Football, man.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Right,
we're going to go on all day, but we can't because
I've got to get them home and pick up the kids as well.
Yeah, Merthyr returned to National League North action at home to Alfreton. Then they're home to Leamington on Tuesday after a trophy defeat. Ricardo Rees is scoring goals for fun.
Just about to say, somebody's got to look at him. I had a look at him. I had a look at him
it's decent,
when I was at Walsall and then got the sack. I was hoping to have him in on trial, but I got the sack. So, I was unable to do that. But I know the family. And
he's a goal scorer.
He's scoring. And he's gone up a league as well. So, I'm very pleased with Ricardo.
Brilliant. I'm going to mention the Adran. Nathan will like this. Cardiff won against Swansea in the derby, came from behind. In the Adran League on Sunday, the producers not happy.
There was a ghost in here, I think.
Yeah, Wrexham hit 6 against Pontypridd, 4 goals in the last 20 minutes. TNS won 3-2 at Britain Ferry, and James Fishlock, brother of one of our other guests, Jess, earned his first win as Barry Boss with a 2-1 win over ABBA. In the JD Premier,
go on, Jim.
TNS won 3-0 at Flint. Big win for Haverford West, will beat Colwyn Bay to move up the relegation zone. Llanelli and Carnarvon drew. Penybont beat Bala. Welsh Cup this weekend. TNS returned to Cardiff Met, where they had a bit of a...
Lost.
Oh, they lost to a few weeks ago. Mike Flynn, it's been a joy. It's always good to have you around. I gotta say, life is a better place when you're around.
I just wish a few chairmen felt that way still. Thanks for having me on.
No, we're chuffed with that. He picked us and before others, so really appreciate that, Mike. Go well in whatever you do. I'll see you next week, I'm sure, Nath.
Yeah, no doubt, Rob, no doubt.
When we'll know Wales are going to play. Spread the word. Tell your friends. We're available on all social media outlets, Instagram, X, Threads, Blue Sky, on YouTube, and of course, wherever you get your podcasts, including Spotify. Look after yourselves. We'll be back next week.